Hey guys, so today we are in Daytona. I am at the track. Stephanie's at home working again, unfortunately. But one of us has to get to have fun. So I'm going to do a 70-minute tour and take you guys along for the ride. We'll check back in when we start.
Minnesota? All right. Where are you from, sir?
Pennsylvania.
We're in Pennsylvania.
Lehigh Valley, north of Philly.
I already told her where I was born. I didn't tell you where I grew up, though. So hold that thought. Where you guys? No, I know where you're from. Ohio.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Michigan.
So here we go. On the track.
So we have Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah, the whole Big Ten represented here. Yeah.
My name is Jeff. I'm going to be your tour guide for the next hour or so. Now, I do have several things I need to go over before we get started. First of all, there's no eating or smoking while we're on the tram. Smoking throughout the tour. For the kids, obviously, you need to take care of them. You do whatever you got to do.
Sounds good.
All right. Drinks are fine as long as they have a cap or a lid. Cell phones, if you would. Everybody, please take out those cell phones, put them on silent or vibrate for the courtesy of the people around you. You may use those cell phones for pictures or videos if you choose to do so. Please do not make or take any phone calls while you're on the tram, unless, of course, it's an emergency you need to take care of. Then do whatever you got to do. All right, rain policy is very simple. It doesn't rain on my tours. But just in case we happen to go by people that are power washing or sprinklers pop up out of the ground, probably won't happen since there's cars out on the track. This is an open tram. If it rains or does any of those other things, you will get wet. Any questions? That's pretty simple. All right, the last thing you need to go over should be common sense. Notice I said should be common sense. As we're traveling around out here, if you should happen to drop something off of the tram, wait for it. Please do not jump off the moving tram to retrieve it. Believe it or not, it has been tried. It did not end well. This will always win right here. All you need to do is let me know at the next stop what it was you dropped, about where it was you dropped it. I'll call back here, somebody will get in the van, come out and pick it up and deliver it to you. All right. No response on the first Daytona 500, which was held on February 22nd, 1959. Coming up here on the passenger side of the tram, right past these two small white service trucks, you'll be able to see the original tunnels that were built in that construction back in 1958. Take note of the clearance of those tunnels, 7 feet 6 inches. Now there is a reason for that. Back when they built this racetrack and those tunnels, most of the drivers drove their own cars right out onto the track. They didn't have the fancy haulers back then that we have today. Out here, this track is used between 260 and 270 days out of the year. Now, what I like to do at the beginning of my tours is go over the major events that we have out here, starting in January with the Rolex 24. That is a 24-hour endurance race that took place this past weekend. In February, we have Speed Weeks. Used to be Speed Weeks, it's now more like 1 week, so we'll call it Speed Week. Highlighted by the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. In March, we have another event here at Daytona Beach that's known around the world. It's called Bike Week. And for our part here at the track, we normally would have flat track racing and supercross events that take place. In August, we have our Coke Zero Sugar 400. That race serves as the final race of the regular season for those Cup Series drivers before their playoffs begin. In November, the entire inside of our track is taken over by a car show and swap meet called the Turkey Run. And all of our major events end out here in December with World Karting Association activities. Now, those are go-karts, but I don't like to call them go-karts, just in case anybody back there has ever driven a go-kart. I would not want you to confuse that kart that you drove with the ones our professionals use out here. Our professionals have been clocked in their karts going in excess of 150 miles per hour. A little bit different than the ones at your local track.
Synonymous with names like Petty, Earnhardt, and Allison, Daytona International Speedway has captured the imaginations of the millions who have set foot on its hallowed ground. Now, Bill Francis' dream has taken yet another step forward with the reimagination of this American icon, blending the modern amenities that today's sports fans demand with the heritage that race fans expect from Daytona. As 2016 saw the closest finish in the history of the Great American Race.
All right, over here on the driver's side of the tram, you'll be able to see some red signs with numbers and behind it blue signs with numbers. These are our premium campsites for RVs. Now in December every year we also do run a triathlon here. Most of it is on our property, including swimming in that lake. Now when I moved to Florida 12 years ago, I was told never to swim in any body of water. So the racetrack went out and got a former Olympic swimmer to come out here and swim in that lake. He put his stamp of approval on it, and that swimmer was Rowdy Day. Sponsor banners, they're held up by a steel structure. Now before they had that steel structure there, we actually used to have bleachers in that area. They took them out during the renovations I was telling you about before. Now back in 1998, the Speedway undertook a maybe the very first driver to drive under these lights about 4 months before they were completed was Dale Earnhardt Sr. Fittingly, that was the year he won his only Daytona 500 in his 20th attempt, and again that year, 1998. But he was known for racing in many different circuits around the world. His name is Mario Andretti, and the reason he's my favorite driver, here you go, Mr. Lehigh Valley, is because I'm from his hometown of Nazareth, Pennsylvania. But I want everybody to check out the last picture on the wall.
Guidance from Nazareth.
The last picture of him. Now as we head to our next stop, we're going to be talking about our different fan entrances. The very first one that you will see is the Adventel Gate. Take a look inside that gate and you'll see rocks. Those are waterfalls that can be turned on during our different events. Adventel also sponsors this trail that we're getting ready to travel on. It's a 1.5 mile walking, biking, jogging trail. Next, we traveled through it before. We're going to go back through our solar pavilion. Now, we do have several solar structures on our property and a total of 7,000 solar panels. Our next van entrance coming up here is the Chevrolet Gate. Woo! Okay, even if you're not a fan, you might find it interesting that back in 2016, when that gate opened, we were not allowed to call it the Chevy Gate. I really did feel vindicated at that point, I gotta tell you that. Alright, our next stop coming up here is our next fan entrance, the Exalta Gate. Exalta is a coating systems company. They have the largest fan entrance here at our track. It serves as the main one for our suites. Also, when we go around the building, we will be crossing over our start-finish line. They do extend it all the way out here so fans can see where they are in relation to the inside of our track. All the people in this building and on top of the building get to come out and sit in these green bench areas where they have reserved seats for those festivities. This area right back here is where the television camera is set up, and directly next to that is where members of the media will come with their photographers. Oh, they moved in. They just took part of my tour away. Oh. No, it's okay. They used to have a CIA label there, and everybody would, like, I'd have people that would walk up there and get all excited because it said CIA, but it's actually a sports group called Cameras in Action. So it's the other CIA. All right, if everybody would, turn around, look across the track, look all the way up there above where it says World Center of Racing. Up on the top is where the team spotters stand, 16.5 stories straight up. If you look above the W in World, can you see up there where it looks like part of the railing's missing? Yeah. That is one of the places they will put television cameras. Now underneath that World Center of Racing, behind those big windows, most of those areas are suites. And by the way, just so you know, this is very rare that they have the majority of those shades up. Very rare. Usually they're down because of the sun and things getting weathered and that kind of thing. So I can just point this out to you, everything all the way across the top, and then if you go to the bottom right and come across to the middle, right underneath the first E in center, all of those areas are suites. Where it changes up, if you look at the bottom left, follow across, you can see that white wall with the chairs in front of it. Everybody see what I'm talking about? That is all our press box. We can accommodate 164 members of the media. Now the black and white seats are a special area called the Tri-Oval Club. They are designed for the people sitting in them to get a great view of the pre-race activities on that side of the wall, normally out on pit road, and also a great view of the race. From the bottom of those black and white seats, the bottom row, you can see at least 90% of the track even from that bottom row. But then also you get a great view of the post-race activities. What people are trying to see, obviously, is at the end of the race, the winning driver standing up there at the top in the middle of the stage. And you might find it interesting that they just put those in 2016. So if you came here before that for an event, you had to walk up steps. We now have 40 escalators. We have 17 elevators, including one that's big enough to bring cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs up to the...
And this here, folks, is Victory Lane. On the tour, they bring you right down to Victory Lane. It's pretty awesome. Pretty good gig. Not bad for a $25 tour.
Anyways, so back talked about in 1998, but the next closest to him in overall victories at this track, Tony Stewart with 19. And our last statue over here, our founders, Bill France Sr. and wife, Annie B. Not only were they the founders of the racetrack, but Bill France and a number of other gentlemen were also the founders of NASCAR back in 1948. Now, as we go around the building to our last stop, those of you on my side of the trail will get a better look at those original tunnels, and I am going to play a closing message for you.
Hi, this is Daytona 500 champion Mike McDowell. Thank you for visiting Daytona International Speedway. Thank you for visiting Daytona International Speedway today. As you saw firsthand, everything at the state-of-the-art facility is world-class. Whether it's your first time here, or if you're a Daytona veteran, the venue has reinvented the motorsports experience for everyone. Daytona's schedules of events have something for everyone, including stock cars, sports cars, motorcycles, karting, car shows, concerts, and more. It's an exciting time at the World Center of Racing, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you for visiting Daytona International Speedway today.
Like it, just remember that name, Woody.
Well, that was a tour. We can go check out the museum now. Looking bad. Like I said, 25 bucks. Not a bad tour.
You guys help?